Tonight on Skyline, the whole West Asia is once again standing on the edge of disaster. Iran is attacking American-linked targets near the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. fighter jets are back in action over Bandar Abbas. Oil tankers are being stopped at the sea. Mr. Donald Trump is threatening the bigger military action tonight, and Israel is quietly preparing for long-range strike. Well, Cuba, Taiwan, Russia and North Korea, they are also suddenly entering a global conversation. But tonight's show, it is not just about a war headline. It is about something that is much bigger, that is happening globally. The world is slowly dividing into dangerous military blocs again. America is trying to show strength everywhere, all at once, from whole West Asia to the Caribbean. And in the meantime, Iran, Russia, China and North Korea are all testing how far they can push Washington before America finally reacts aggressively. And tonight, ordinary people around the world, they are already feeling the consequences. Oil prices are rising, shipping routes are collapsing, airspace tensions are growing, and global fear, it is spreading faster than diplomacy itself. Every missile launch, every military convoy, every fighter jet and every drone strike, it now risks triggering a much larger global confrontation. Tonight, we break down 9 explosive stories that are changing the future of global power, war and international politics. I am Driti Atri and this is Skyline. Tonight, the Iran-Israel and the U.S. war has entered another extremely dangerous phase. Iran's powerful IRGC, it now claims that it had targeted an American airbase in the Gulf region after a fresh U.S. strike hit southern Iran. What makes this terrifying tonight? It is that both the countries are insisting that they are acting defensively while simultaneously attacking each other militarily. Here, America says its fighter jets and drones, they were responding to Iranian threat near the Strait of Hormuz. Iran says that the U.S. violated the ceasefire first, and now the whole Gulf region, it is becoming trapped between retaliation and escalation. In fact, according to CENTCOM, American forces struck a military position near Bandar Abbas after intelligence suggested that Iran was preparing for another drone launch. The US military claims that it also intercepted multiple Iranian one-way attack drones flying near the Hormuz. But Iran immediately responded aggressively. In fact, Iranian state media claimed that the IRGC targeted an American-linked base connected to the operation. Kuwait later confirmed it intercepted the hostile missiles and drones near its territory, though the officials avoided directly naming Iran publicly. Now tonight, this is becoming more than just a regional conflict again. The Strait of Hormuz controls almost 1/5 of global oil and liquefied natural gas shipment. Every missile exchange over there, it instantly affects a lot of things. It includes fuel prices, global shipping, airline cost, inflation, and the financial market worldwide. At the very same time though, America has now sanctioned Iran's Persian Gulf Strait Authority, accusing Tehran of trying to economically control maritime trade. Iran says it is simply charging to navigate the whole service here, but Washington calls it extortion. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the most dangerous part is this. Both the sides still claim that they want peace, while actively preparing for more and more conflict. And yes, while Iran targets American-linked position in the Gulf, Bandar Abbas itself is now exploding under fresh military panic. Tonight, Bandar Abbas, one of Iran's most important military and shipping cities, has become the center of fresh warfare after multiple explosions were reported during the early hours of the morning. Residents described hearing repeated blasts between 1:30 and 1:43 a.m., with several explosions occurring within minutes. In fact, Iranian state-linked media later confirmed explosions in eastern Bandar Abbas, while reporting that air defense systems were activated shortly afterwards. Now tonight, Bandar Abbas, it is not just another Iranian city, right? It sits directly near the Strait of Hormuz and serves as a strategic naval hub for the Iranian Navy, for the IRGC missile system. In fact, shipping operations along with the military strikes and military logistics. So that means every explosion over there, it instantly creates fear of much larger escalation involving American fighter jets, Iranian drone, naval assets, and possible missile launch. At the very same time, online panic is exploding globally. Videos claiming to show fighter aircrafts, missile interception, and anti-aircraft system, they are spreading rapidly across social media. In fact, some reports linked to Axios even claimed that Iran launched an aerial attack against an American-linked vessel near the Hormuz amid the whole crisis. And tonight, let's talk about the psychological impact. That matters a lot. Even when details remain unclear, repeated explosions inside such a strategic city, it creates fear. Fear across oil market, shipping industries, military alliances, and the Gulf economies as well. Because let's be honest, tonight the ceasefire between America and Iran increasingly looks like a ceasefire only on paper. And while explosions shake Bandar Abbas, ladies and gentlemen, Iran is now showing the world it can directly threaten the global oil movement itself. Tonight, the Strait of Hormuz is once again becoming the world's most dangerous economic choke point. Iranian media reports claim that the IRGC-linked naval forces confronted 4 vessels attempting to enter the Persian Gulf after allegedly failing to coordinate with Iranian authorities. In fact, according to Tasman news agency, warning shots were fired after the ships ignored the initial instructions, forcing them to retreat from that particular area. Now tonight, understand how serious this is globally. Hormuz is not just another waterway. Nearly 20% of global oil trade, in fact massive LNG shipments and billions of dollars in energy cargo, it passes through this narrow channel, and that too every single day. So that means even a small disruption over there, it can trigger a lot of things. It can trigger fuel price spike, it can trigger stock market volatility, inflation increases, shipping insurance that is in panic, and worldwide economic uncertainty, with markets that are reacting already. Oil price reportedly jumped nearly 2% after fears spreading that shipping through Hormuz could become unstable again. Well, Iran appears to be sending a very powerful strategic message here. Message that America may dominate militarily, but Tehran can still economically pressure the world by controlling uncertainty around Hormuz. Shipping companies are now watching the whole Gulf already minute by minute. Insurance premium for vessels operating near Iran, they are already under a lot of pressure. Energy traders, they fear that even temporary closure or maybe attack, it could create global fuel disruption. So, the war, it is no longer just military. It is an economic warfare too. And yes, while Iran pressurizes the global markets through Hormuz, tension and anger over the war, it is now exploding inside America itself. Former U.S. Marine and Gulf War veteran Kenneth, he has ignited a major controversy after launching an emotional anti-war attack against Mr. Donald Trump, Israel, and America's West Asia strategy. During an appearance in Rick Sanchez' show, he became visibly emotional while describing visits to the grave in Iran's Minab region. Well, he claimed that he cried for the first time in years after witnessing the destruction personally. Now tonight, his comments, they are spreading like a wildfire online because they reveal something much deeper that is happening inside America. Growing emotional exhaustion over endless wars. That's right, he accused Washington of repeating the same mistakes seen in Iraq and Afghanistan. He kind of argued that ordinary civilians and soldiers continue paying the price while politicians, they make strategic decisions far away from the battlefield. And tonight, this particular debate, it is becoming increasingly emotional because Americans themselves, they are divided deeply over Iran. Some believe that Mr. Trump, he must show some strength. Others fear another endless West Asia war. Some support Israel aggressively, while others, they fear regional escalation could spiral out of control. You know, what makes this particular criticism extremely powerful is that he is not an outside activist. Well, he is a former Marine veteran. He is openly criticizing American war policy after personally witnessing the conflict zones. Well, his statements, they are becoming a part of a larger national question. Is America defending stability, or is America becoming trapped in another cycle of endless military confrontation? And yes, while anti-war anger, it spreads across America, shocking speculation, it is now emerging around possible US military repositioning inside Israel itself. Tonight, geopolitical speculation is exploding after reports claim that the Trump administration may have discussed emergency repositioning linked to Ben Gurion Airport in Israel amid the rising Iran-Israel tension. While many details remain unconfirmed officially, online discussions are spreading rapidly around fears that escalating threats from Iran, it may be forcing emergency contingency planning for American personnel and military operations in that particular region. Well, military analysts, they say that there are concerns over long-range Iranian missile, drone attacks, proxy strikes, and regional retaliation that have forced Washington and Israel to quietly prepare for the worst-case scenario. And yes, tonight, even rumors like this, it matters strategically because modern warfare, it is now heavily psychology, right? Iran successfully creates fear that the US facilities are vulnerable, Israeli infrastructure is exposed, and American military positioning, it is becoming unstable. And then Tehran gains the symbolic momentum without even needing a large battlefield victories. Well, social media, it has amplified the panic dramatically. Videos, satellite images, air traffic monitoring screenshots, and military speculation are now spreading globally within minutes. Every aircraft moment, it becomes a geopolitical headline. Every airport rumor, it becomes a symbol of possible escalation. And in the end, the whole West Asia increasingly feels like a region preparing emotionally for a much larger conflict. And yes, while questions grow around American positioning in Israel, Israel itself is now openly strengthening its long-range strike capability. Well, Israel has officially unveiled a major expansion of its air power capabilities by inducting its first ever Boeing KC-46 Guidon aerial refueling aircraft into service. Now, this may sound really technical to you, but strategically, it is extremely important. Aerial refueling aircraft allow a fighter jet to travel farther, remain airborne longer, carry heavier payload, and conduct extended strike mission that is deep inside the hostile territory. Basically, in simple words, Israel is preparing for a possibility of long-range warfare. Ladies and gentlemen, the timing matters here, and that too a lot. The upgrade, it comes directly amid the rising tension with Iran and repeated discussions around future strikes on Iranian military infrastructure or maybe nuclear-linked sites here. Well, Israeli officials openly declared that they are ready for any development on any front. Here, many analysts, they believe that KC-46 fleet, it significantly increases Israel's ability to sustain operations, and that too far beyond the borders. That includes deep strike capability, extended surveillance, aerial coordination, and faster operational flexibility during a whole conflict here. And yes, at the very same time, Iran is watching closely. Tehran do understands that long-range aerial refueling dramatically improves Israel's operational reach here. And tonight, the most dangerous reality, well, it is this. Both Iran and Israel appear to be preparing very seriously for further escalation, even while diplomacy publicly continues. And yes, in the meantime, Israel prepares for long-distance operation. Reports are now rising concern about growing American military pressure near Cuba itself. Well, new analytical report, it is creating major international discussion after suggesting that the United States may already have enough military assets positioned near Cuba for possible rapid military action if ordered. According to the report, current deployments, it include the USS Nimitz carrier strike group, guided missile warship, in fact, surveillance drone, marines, strike aircraft, and extensive naval support infrastructure across the Caribbean region. Now, officially, if we talk, the Pentagon has not really confirmed any invasion plan yet, but analysts cited in the report They argue that current military posture could support intimidation tactics, rapid strike operations, or strategic pressure if tension suddenly escalates. Well, this matters because America is now projecting military powers simultaneously across the West Asia, Eastern Europe, the Indo-Pacific, and the Caribbean now. But maintaining such massive global military readiness, it comes at a cost, right? Reports suggest that long deployment, they are straining. Be it anything, ships, crews, maintenance system, operational endurance. In fact, critics are now asking whether America is stretching itself too aggressively across multiple geopolitical fronts, and that too at the same time. Not just Cuba though Cuba is once again becoming symbolic of something bigger here. Something that America's attempt to show global military dominance during a period of rising worldwide instability. And yes, while America expands military pressure globally, Mr. Vladimir Putin, he is now receiving extraordinary treatment inside a US allied nation. Well, tonight, dramatic footage from Kazakhstan. It is creating huge geopolitical discussion after Russian President Mr. Vladimir Putin's aircraft, it was escorted by Kazakhstan's fighter jets, and that too all the way to Astana airport during his state visit. Well, the visuals, they are striking. Fighter jets surrounding Mr. Putin's plane like it's an honor. Military honor guards were there, ceremonial welcomes and personal greeting from Kazakhstan's president. Tonight, this was not just symbolism. Kazakhstan, it maintains relationship with both Russia and the Western countries. So the highly visible escort, it sends a message that Moscow still retains strong influence across parts of Eurasia despite any Western pressure and any sanction here. You know, this particular visit, it focused heavily on Eurasian alliances, strategic cooperation, economic integration, regional security, and long-term partnership discussion. And tonight, this kind of reflects a larger global transformation. America's rivals are increasingly building alternative power network outside the traditional Western system. Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea all are strengthening coordination politically, economically, and militarily, that too in different ways. And tonight, the world increasingly feels divided into competing geopolitical blocs again. And you know, in our last segment, while Russia, it strengthens influence across Eurasia, North Korea is now unveiling a terrifying AI-powered missile system. That's right, North Korea has reportedly tested a new AI-integrated cruise missile system under the direct supervision of Mr. Kim Jong-un. According to the state media KCNA, the weapons tested evaluated the AI-guided navigation, precision targeting, tactical missile coordination, and long-range artillery combat readiness. Now, this changes the whole conversation dramatically. Why? Because the artificial intelligence, it is no longer just transforming the smartphones, offices, or social media. It is now transforming warfare itself. Analysts believe that this may be the first public reference to the AI-based missile guidance from North Korea. Reports suggest that the missile system could strike targets up to 100 kilometers away, potentially covering major areas near the South Korean border, including Seoul. And now military experts, they fear the future wars. Well, they may increasingly involve AI-guided missiles. In fact, autonomous drones, machine-assisted targeting, cyber warfare, and automated battlefield system. Tonight, global military competition, it is entering a completely new technological era where artificial intelligence could eventually make warfare faster. It can make it more unpredictable and potentially far deadlier. And perhaps the most frightening part is this. Many governments may already be entering an AI arms race, far bigger than the public fully understands this. So, these all stories, they may all seem pretty disconnected, right? Iranian missile, American strike, Putin's escort, Cuba fear North Korea's AI weapon, oil tankers panic, and military buildup worldwide. But you know what? Together, they reveal one terrifying reality. The world is slowly entering a new era of unstable global conversation and confrontation. America is trying to maintain dominance everywhere, and that too all at once. Iran is testing the US limits, Russia is rebuilding alliances. China, in the meantime, is watching very carefully. North Korea is modernizing weapons, and the whole West Asia remains one mistake away from a full-scale regional war. At the very same time, ordinary people everywhere, I repeat, they are paying the price. They are paying the price through inflation, through oil market fear, economic instability, and non-stop geopolitical uncertainty for them. Tonight, the world increasingly feels like it is preparing not for peace, but for the possibility of multiple overlapping global conflict, and that too at the same time. I am Driti Atri, and this was Skyline. See you in the next one.